Welcome to the Seattle Real Estate with Urban Ash, your go-to podcast for all things Seattle and Seattle real estate. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer, an experienced investor, downtown resident, or simply just curious about the latest market trends, we've got you covered. I'm Urban Ash, a 20-plus year downtown resident and real estate professional. Together, we'll uncover insider tips, share expert insights to help you navigate the market, and showcase community leaders and organizations. So join me as we dive into everything from the rental and sales market to the rich community life that makes Seattle so unique. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. We're going to be chatting with Joe Bushong of Russ Lyon's Sotheby's here in Phoenix, Scottsdale area about a phenomenal project that they're bringing to market and going to be completing in 2027 called Summit by Olson Kundig. And that just kind of hit home with me when I learned of the project first, just because being from the Pacific Northwest, Olson Kundig is such a big name. And for them to brand and put their name on a project here, which is actually being built on Camelback Mountain in such a phenomenal location on the Phoenician Resort property, we just had to share. So we're going to let Joe chat with us a little bit about the project here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Good morning. So thank you for being with us today. We're chatting with Joe Bushong from Russ Lyon Sotheby's. He's representing Summit by Olson Kundig, which in the Pacific Northwest is a big name and holds a lot of prestige. And when we heard that this project was going on and being built, it was something that we just had to share with everyone in the Pacific Northwest, because we know that there's a lot of synergy between the two markets, and a lot of people would probably very much interested in knowing that the summit is coming to fruition and is in the very much the phase of moving forward. And so wanting it with Joe to kind of get an overview of where things are at and just kind of a summary of the project in general. So thank you for being with us tonight.
Yeah. Good morning, Ashley. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and also very exciting for us to be able to present the Summit by Olson Kundig project. As you mentioned, the name carries such weight with those who are familiar with it, and we're thrilled to bring this project to the Phoenix market. So Ascent at the Phoenician is the name of our community, and this is on the grounds of the Phoenician Resort and Spa at the base of Camelback Mountain. Really an iconic site in the Phoenix market, right on the edge of Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, and Phoenix. We were fortunate that about 6 years ago, the Phoenician redesigned 3 9-hole golf courses into 2 new 9 holes and captured a bunch of extra land that had been previous golf course holes. That land is what was sold to our client, which is a Vancouver-based development company called Replay. Replay master planned the Ascent community, and this community sits now at the east side of the resort at the base of Camelback Mountain. On the screen now is sort of a little rendering that gives you a sense of the whole community. Our first phase, which we started selling about 4 years ago, were our golf villas. Those were 30 townhomes along the first fairway of the Phoenician golf course. Those have all been sold and delivered, and we've got lots of folks enjoying their lifestyle there. Our second phase was our mountainside residences. These are 40 condominiums in a 4-story building built on Camelback Mountain. We sold out of those and have delivered all of those as well. So we've got a lot of great experiences with people moving into the community and living there. Our third phase, we called our Camelback residences. Those were 2 buildings, a total of 60 condominiums. We've sold 54 of those. There's only 6 remaining, and those will be delivered this fall around September, October. So we've got some immediate occupancy availability, some very soon to be delivered units. And then finally, the crown jewel of our community, and the one that we're here to talk about today, is Summit by Olson Kundig. At the base of Camelback Mountain, in our most premier site within the community, will be the Summit community. I'm going to scroll through just a few of the slides of the other projects, just so you can get a sense for what Ascent feels like. It's a 24-hour manned guard-gated community adjacent to the Phoenician. These are our golf villas. Interiors of all the homes feature bull-top kitchens, Wolf and Sub-Zero appliances, a beautiful finished package spec'd by local designer Donna Valone and her team, a very high-end firm and very well-respected firm. Here we see the mountainside residences, which, as I mentioned, are now fully occupied. Within them, some beautiful scale units. This one's almost 4,000 square feet with butler's pantry and really nice living and dining areas. There's another example of one of the large mountainside residences. Great fixtures. Camelback residences that are under construction now. This is what I mentioned. We have only 6 remaining, but These are really beautiful, coming along great. And our buyer mix has been about half locals, downsizing out of larger single family homes, and about half out of town part-time homeowners. So a really nice mix of folks from the Pacific Northwest, as well as upper Midwest and the West Coast, and all over the country for that matter. Each of the buildings has a rooftop deck, which has views that across the valley in all directions. And then finally, for all of our residents, we have the Ascent Mountain Club. This is our community amenity, which has, it's a 6,000-foot building, 3,000 feet of fitness on the upper level, an 85-foot long lap pool outside. And then inside, we've got a beautiful club room, full kitchen, game tables, private dining room, billiards, really just a beautiful facility available for all of our residents.
What are the price points that you have right now at Ascent?
So within our the new product remaining in the Camelback residences, we start just at 2.4 million for a large one bedroom that's 1,675 square feet with another 1,675 square feet of outdoor living, built-in fireplace, barbecue, really beautiful outdoor living space that expands that. And we go up to 4.6 million on a large 3,200 square foot 3-bedroom with a den and 4 full bathrooms.
Gotcha. And then what is the like parking situation like in additional storage?
Sure. Every home comes with 2 reserved parking spaces in an underground parking structure, as well as a private storage room. They vary in size, but they're on average about 6 by 10 feet. And they're fully closed rooms. They're not just metal cages. They're actually walled and have doors on the front.
Okay.
So getting now to what we're here mostly to talk about is Summit by Olson Kundig. The Summit project, we have just received our subdivision public report on Tuesday of this week. So we're just going to contract now. What's on screen now is a rendering of the buildings, 2 3-story buildings carved into the side of Camelback Mountain. So really integrated in the site. And really what's fascinating for us is when we met with Olson Kundig, we had the good fortune to go up to Seattle, tour the Space Needle with them. They just completed the $100 million renovation of the Space Needle, their firm, and the project architects took us on a private tour. And then we spent the day in their offices, and their design aesthetic and their sort of philosophy is to be design of the place. It's all about their site. So when they're designing in the Pacific Northwest, they integrate with the forest or the water. For us, they really wanted to integrate into Camelback Mountain. And for folks who know our market here, Camelback Mountain is really one of the most iconic landmarks in Phoenix. And we're thrilled to be probably on the last developable site for multifamily on the mountain. So they came down. Kirsten Murray's the lead architect for this project, as well as one of the main principals at Olson Kundig. She really walked this site over and over and just took back with her pieces of the mountain, chunks of rock, and just studied them. And from that palette came what you see now, these rich, dark tones. The stone is called a Wallapie chocolate sandstone that's quarried in Ash Fork, Arizona, northern Arizona. You've got amazing wood and steel and charcoal and brown, just rich, deep colors. And it was kind of funny, I guess I should say, when Kirsten said they really studied our market and drove, and they said, she said, not to be critical, but we saw a lot of beige, just a lot of beige everywhere. And we really wanted to be much more cognizant of our site and really want to integrate with the mountain. So really that kind of led all the design of the community. The homes in the Summit range from just over 1,500 square feet to 4,800 square feet in our biggest penthouse. So we've got a really nice range. With 63 homes, there are actually 34 different floor plans. So I think, one of the things that they're cognizant of doing too is not having cookie cutter properties. They want individually designed experiences. We're thrilled that we have as well some Thomas Kundig TK hardware feature on the front doors of all of our homes, as well as the front doors to the community and the lobby areas. Within each home, you have an amazing set of included features. So this is not your typical base package, and then you've got to spend a bunch of money on upgrades or customization elements. These are fully designed and really fully integrated by Olson Kundig and their team. So within each home, you see there's a feature wall they've designed with a fireplace clad in steel, as well as some floating cabinetry and shelves. Every home has a 10-foot stacking door system that stacks one to one side or the other. And in a few of our big penthouses, they go all the way into the walls and just disappear. Every patio has large overhangs with a wood ceiling. Every patio has a fire feature as well as a built-in barbecue. You've got seamless transition from the indoor to the outdoor, and just a fully, like I said, fully designed package from Olson Kundig, as opposed to really our owners having to make a lot of decisions. It's all kind of set up for them. Kitchens, again, will be bowl top with a more modern line of Wolf and Sub-Zero appliances. Different for us this time is that the kitchens come fully integrated with wood, as well as glass backsplash, quartz counters, a walnut island that floats. The Olson Kundig has also selected a slab of natural quartzite that matches kind of the palette of other materials they've selected for the homes. So if someone wanted to change out the slab in their kitchen, or the glass at the backsplash, it could be this natural stone. But within each home, there are options to add some additional cabinetry if someone wanted to do some more pantry storage, or some, like say, a bar and wine tower that can be integrated in additional bowl-top cabinetry. Bathrooms are outfitted beautifully with waterworks fixtures that Olson Kundig has selected a really unique and almost custom finish, a kind of a matte charcoal that also integrates with this color palette. There are 2 stone options that have been selected, and the wet walls, as Olson Kundig calls them, the walls behind your sink, your tub, and inside your shower, can be either this really nice natural grain stone, or there's a deeper, richer kind of charcoal and caramely kind of stone that they've selected as well. All master baths have got a separate tub and shower, water closet within a room, really gracious closet spacing. You'll see that more so than your typical big city condos, these are really built with the expectation that folks might live in them permanently and full-time. Ground floor units, again, integrate with the desert really beautifully. So you've got really chunky boulders and big desert vegetation wrapping each patio, as well as some steel screening that gives some really nice filtered shadows and filtered light through to the homes. They shared with us that for them, the homes facing Camelback Mountain are their favorite, because it's again, this integration into a really epic site, and you really can feel like you're in the middle of the desert, but you're in the middle of the city, and it's kind of a really cool experience for people. And I'll tell you, of the within the community, we've sold 124 condominiums so far in our first 3 phases, and at least 10 of our buyers are people who come to the Phoenician every year, and they've been coming here for decades. And when they said we could actually have a chance to own a place here and live here, that's perfect for us, and we love it. So for those folks, they really do appreciate the mountain. And speaking of the mountain, a lot of folks love to hike Camelback Mountain. There's a great trail, the Cholla Trail, right outside of our community, and we have a private gate from our community right onto that Cholla Trail. So our residents are free to access that easily every day. Our biggest penthouse, the unit 1301 is 4,800 square feet. This is really kind of an epic property that I think is unlike anything ever built here in the valley. 3 bedrooms that are en suite, really huge closets for the primary bedroom, stacking doors to go into the wall and cantilever the entire corner of the patio out. And then incredible entertaining, a full back kitchen that is completely equipped with another cooktop, ovens, refrigerator, dishwasher. It's really a second kitchen for entertaining. This home is definitely our biggest and our most expensive at $10.3 million. That's really kind of it for the renderings. As I mentioned, we just started going to contract this week. We received our subdivision public report late Tuesday, so we're now writing contracts. We did not do reservations because they're not binding, and we didn't really want to tie up in that process. But we expect construction to begin August or September, and delivery is about 2 years later. So we're looking at the fall of 27 for delivery on these. And wonderful. Contract terms are, we go 10% down when you sign the contract, another 10% when we start construction. Again, we anticipate that is August 1st, and that money will be released to the developer to be used in the construction. And there will be a slight upgrade process if people want to add some things in the bowl-top kitchen or add some home automation. They can do that during that window. Any upgrades they select, they would pay for at that time. But then there are no more draws until we complete and close escrow.
Gotcha.
And then do you guys have a preferred lender that you're working with?
Yes, we have several preferred lenders, and we are also the client Replay is also very, very broker friendly. I mean, they welcome the broker community. We offer a 2.5% co-broke to anybody who on their first deal and 3% on any deals after that. They also pay the commission out in a staged process, 25% when we break ground, 25% when we top out on concrete, and 50% in closing. So for brokers, it's a nice way to have some income stream along the way as well, and not just have to wait for completion.
Definitely. So talking about the HOA, just like the due amounts and what's included.
So our budget for Summit is anticipating about 84 cents a square foot. So and it sounds like it's a very specific number, obviously, but they've done very detailed budget analysis. So on a 2,000 foot home, we'd be at about 1,680 a month. On a 1,500 square foot home, about 1,300 roughly.
Yep, which actually for a luxury product, in comparison, let's say to downtown Seattle market, you're definitely pushing $1 to $1.10 when you're coming up out of the ground. So that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. And that, again, that does include a 24-hour man guard gate and the whole community amenity that we saw, as well as maintaining the grounds throughout the community.
Yep. And so utilities that be included, that would be waters. How are utilities ran?
Water, trash, sewer is included. Gas and electricity will be separately metered. And there is quite a bit of gas here, obviously, because of the fireplaces, the cooking, and the fire features.
Yeah. Is there anything special about the HVAC system or like heat pump?
No, I mean, there are individual systems for each home, so they're on the roof of the building. You'll maintain them yourselves, but at least you have control too. You can either heat packs or heat pumps, so heating and cooling, electric, and fully in your control.
Okay, and then going back to the garage, is there EV charging?
Yes, at each 2 parking spaces, you'll have a 220 outlet that can be used for your EV charger. And I think probably one thing you guys have seen in your market that has not been as common here is just planning ahead for that, so the HOA is not involved. And in this case, the power to your parking is run right through your system. It's tapped into your system, so you're not paying for your neighbors to charge their cars. But
yeah, that's a big thing right now, is upgrading panels and how to do that whole process after the fact. So that's good.
It is tough in a building.
Yeah, for sure. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the affiliation with the resort, because like you said, it is such a great location. And the fact that you're on the Phoenician Resort property and you do have access to, the wonderful amenities that Ascent has, but you also have access to the Phoenician amenities too.
Yeah, so the Phoenician has offered a membership to owners within the Ascent community. And that membership is not open to the public, but only to people who own within this community. And that Phoenician Resident Access Program, it's called, is offered at $12,000 a year for a couple. You could do an add-on for children if you've got kids that wanted to join you for the access, but that gives you unlimited use of their 11,000 square foot fitness center, unlimited use of all of their resort pools, and then discounts of 20% at all 7 of the on-site restaurants, as well as the spa. Preferred tee times at the golf club, as well as discounts on the tee green fees, as well as 50% off court fees at the tennis center and pickleball courts. They also throw in a couple of room nights a year and a few other benefits for those who have the membership. And one other thing that's been kind of a fun add-on for some of our members and owners is, if you have the membership for $1,500 a year, you can have unlimited use of the golf range. So we've got owners that'll walk down and just hit balls on the range literally every night. We see them walk by with one club in their hand, and they'll go down and hit balls for a while.
Yeah. Nice. All right. And then as far as for those, because I've had a couple questions too about the rental cap and just what the restrictions are.
Yeah, very good question. When the Phoenicians sold the land to our client, they put a 30-day minimum on any rentals. We convinced our clients, I think, appropriately, to raise that to 90 days. So there's a 90-day minimum on rentals. So if folks aren't going to be here all year, they can put them in they can offer them for rent. Or if they're not sure they're going to use it at first, they just want to rent it for a couple of years before they plan to move in, they can do that. Right now, there are only about 4 rentals or 5 rentals out of the entire community, and they're bringing in, for us, what feel like astronomical numbers. I mean, one of our golf villas has been rented every month since it was completed 2.5 years ago, and they paid 1.85 for that house, and it's renting at $16,000 a month up to $21,000 a month, and it has not been vacant a single month. So that's been amazing. In our mountainside residences, which we just closed out of in February, there are a couple of rentals, and they're running unfurnished around $7,500 a month for a small 2-bedroom, furnished anywhere from $12,000 to $22,000 a month. on those.
Wow.
So it's been a nice investment opportunity for a number of our residents. And several of them have bought more than one home just for that reason. One is a rental and one for themselves.
Yeah. I think when you came and spoke with the broker, you also spoke about just kind of the sheer appreciation, I think of, which also kind of was along the investment aspect of how owners have kind of come up in their investment. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up. The model for our developer has always been and will always be the best pricing is at entry level right now. When we release the project, it's our very best pricing. Over the course of the first 3 phases, we had on average 10 price increases at each phase, and those are not always announced. It's just the developer calls and says, "Okay, here's the new price list." So they're not always massive, but 25 to 50 and sometimes $100,000 a unit. And once you do that a few times over the course of a project, it really adds up. So our initial golf villa buyers are up on average $800,000 to $1 million each on what were $1.8 to $2.5 million original purchases. Some as high as $1.2 million. On our mountainside residences, we are up about 25% as well. We have one closing on Tuesday, a resale that our client purchased from us at 3.1, and we're selling it at $4,225,000. So after commissions, there'll be and fees, they'll be still up just under $1 million on that. And we're seeing just that consistently across the board. Really, really nice increases. And we, as you mentioned, the Olson Kundig name carries such a cachet worldwide, really, and we're seeing that reflected in buyers' interest and excitement about the community. So we anticipate a similar path here. And I think it's going to raise the bar for the entire community as well as even the market. I mean, I think here in Phoenix to have an architect branded product like this is really going to bring some value that we'll start reflecting in the future as it's finally delivered.
Yep, most definitely. I think it's a unique way of branding a property with, an architect that really just has a name backing. And I think we talked about a little bit before versus it being kind of a flashy material name that's out there. It's an architect who has a very well-regarded reputation. And so, I think that also brings a consumer confidence to the buyers that are coming in too, and that there's just such a rich following. So very excited to see this project.
We are as well. We're excited to share it with you guys. And, I think when anybody comes to town, we have an on-site sales center. We're happy to meet with you and your clients anytime there. And we're open 7 days a week. But also when someone comes into the site, they'll realize how this community has really come to life in such a beautiful way. We're so fortunate to be literally on Camelback Mountain with the Phoenician Resort and a golf course surrounding us. So the setting is just absolutely spectacular. You're literally in the middle of the 5th largest city in the country, and you feel like you're tucked into the desert and in a very quiet resort site.
I mean, you could be to downtown Old Town in 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a mile from Scottsdale Fashion Mall and all the restaurants and things there.
It's just an amazing location, and also to get to the airport and it's so central. Really can't stress that enough for people, especially who want the lock and leave, right? They want the desert lifestyle, but owning a house, there's other complexities that come with that. And so to have the lock and leave peace of mind is just ideal sometimes. And
we also, for brokers who would like to market this to their own sphere, we can create and we have done this for Brokery and a few other firms, a branded piece about some Olson Kundig that just has your brokerage name on it, and you can send it out to your clients so they'll reach out to you, and it doesn't present our contact info on that at all. It's just really a piece for you to use if you'd like it.
Great. Is there anything else you want to touch base about? I don't think we have any questions here. But I think we covered pretty much everything that I thought we should.
Yeah, I think that covers us too. We're thrilled. We again, it's one of those things that when you walk on site and see it, we've got a great new sales center. A scale model of the 2 buildings is going to arrive in the next 10 to 12 days, which will be a really nice way to demonstrate how the community is going to come to life. And it's really beautiful. We're thrilled.
And where's your sales center located?
It is on site within our community. So you would enter off of Invergordon through the 24-hour manned guard gate at Ascent, and you'd just proceed down. There's signage. You'll see the sales center there.
Wonderful. All right, you guys are pretty active on Instagram too, which is great. So if anyone's curious of checking out the renderings, we're obviously going to repost this as well, so you could refer back, watch it again, or pass it on to anyone that you think would be interested in the project. And then we'll also post Joe's contact information and ours as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having us. And if we can do anything for anybody, please please don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Will do, for sure. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining today, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Ashley.
All right, bye-bye.